Welcome to tonight's coaching video. Gentlemen, I want to share with you tonight a very powerful lesson that will change your life. It definitely changed my life. This lesson is from a book, very popular book by Robert Greene called The 48 Laws of Power. I read this book around the time it came out. I want to say it was probably like 1999, that long ago, that I read this book. I sat in it was a Borders bookstore, which is no longer even around, but I remember sitting there because I couldn't afford to buy the book, and I just would go in there a few times per week and continue reading this book. And then finally, I think it was the following year, I just went ahead and bought the book and was glued to it for a few years. And a few of the lessons from this book are just well, not even just a few, but most of them are just so transformational. If you have not yet read this book, I highly recommend it. It's called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, but this is one of my very favorite lessons, or laws, I call it laws, that Robert Greene has for gaining power in this world. Right? This is law number 10, and it is called avoiding the unhappy and unlucky. Okay, this is going to be a very important lesson for you, to avoid the unhappy and unlucky in life. So I'm just going to read this. I'm just going to read it for you. Judgment. You can die from someone else's misery. Emotional states are as infectious as diseases. You may feel you are helping the drowning man, but you are only precipitating your own disaster. The unfortunate sometimes draw misfortune upon themselves, and they will also draw it upon you. Associate with the happy and fortunate instead. Yeah, I mean, there's so much in this little paragraph that he just said, and essentially what he's saying is that if you have people in your life who are just they're constantly, things are bad are constantly happening to them, and they just can't win in life. Many times, by the way, it's of their own hand. It's of their own doing, right? Everything goes back to their attitude, right? But some people, they've been losing for so long that they just can't win, right? It's just like people who've been winning for so long. All they can do is win. They don't know any other way, right? So I'm just going to go into a little bit of what he says here. I'm not going to go into all of it, otherwise it'd take forever. I want to try to just stick to the point here. He goes on to say, naturally we feel drawn to help those close to us, whether this be a friend, a spouse, or a family member. While it's clearly important to be there for those you care about and love, it's those who feign having your self-interest in mind that you must be wary of. These are ones who appear to be playing the innocent victim while placating on your emotions for aid. In the process, essentially, they make you feel guilty, right? They'll guilt you into helping them. They'll guilt you into doing something for them. They'll guilt you into drawing you into their chaos called a life. In the process, they make their misfortune and their misery your own by becoming dependent on you, forming some type of parasitism or partnership. In the process, you are brought down with them by supplicating mentality to help all no matter what. While this may sound cold and shrewd, it's a choice that has to be made. Most are unable to continue to flourish while in this type of relationship because of how challenging it is to stay detached and objective. And he goes on to say, keys to power. Those misfortunate among us who have been brought down by circumstances beyond their control deserve all the help and sympathy we can give them. I agree. But there are others, I would say most, who are not born to misfortune or unhappiness, but who draw it upon themselves by their own destructive actions and unsettling effects on others. The key is distinguishing the difference between the two. Whether you're interacting with someone new, such as making a new acquaintance or starting a new relationship, it would be wise to thoroughly understand the individual's character and be aware of how this person will uplift you or slowly infect and destroy you. I used the dramatic word of destroy on purpose. He says, of course, you will probably not end up dying like many of the individuals in many stories throughout history, but the power of emotion is infectious. And what I am referring to is a metaphorical death of character and vitality for life. So he's essentially saying because they're so unhappy and miserable, they will make you unhappy and miserable as well. Right? Because that's why they call them toxic, right? If there is any truth in Jim Rohn's quote, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around, then you shouldn't be extremely cautious and selective who that 5 is, ? And he closes with, so how do these self-destructive habits occur and go on to poison others? Green says the reason is simple. Humans are extremely susceptible to the moods, emotions, and even the ways of thinking of those whom they spend their time with. The incurably unhappy and unstable have a particularly strong infecting power because their characters and emotions are so intense. They often present themselves as victims, making it difficult at first to see their miseries are self-inflicted. Before you realize the real nature of their problems, you have been infected by them. And what he said there was a mouthful, but it just speaks volumes to the fact that a lot of people who are unfortunate, misfortunate, unhappy, and miserable, most times they bring it upon themselves, right? And it's something that's infectious, whereas, the only thing I can liken it to, my only experience now with having people like this, the closest that I have to anything like this in my life, any people like this in my life, are probably just haters, because any friends I had like this in the past, I have gotten rid of long ago, as you should if you haven't already, right? I let go of these people long ago, both male and female. If they were toxic, if all they were doing was coming into my life and just running amok or using me for money or using me for favors or just, using me to, put me down so they could feel better about themselves. You might have friends like that too, or just constantly trolling. I understand a little ribbing here and there. That's fine, right? That's how guys roll. However, when it gets to the point where it's done, like they're trying to increase their own social status at your expense, then they're not your friend, right? They're users, right? They're just not. They're toxic people. And all of these people that I remember having in my life at one point, nowadays it doesn't even surprise me. A lot of them just never did anything with their lives. They're still unhappy. They're still miserable. They're still trying to use people, and they're still blaming everybody else for their woes, right? It's still everyone else's fault. You just can't help them, right? That's why Robert Greene was saying it is self-inflicted. So, if you have anybody like this in your life, again, all they're going to do is hold you back. All they're going to do is bring their own misery, their own sadness, and their own dilemmas into your life, right? Just as Robert Greene says, you become partners with these people, right? It's almost like a parasite just latching onto you. Right? Because real healthy relationships, right? Healthy relationships are where two parties are coming together to both give value, right? Exchange value. Where both have something to offer. It's not just this take relationship, right? It's more of a give relationship. And that's what most of my friendships are like today, where it's just like, we're just constantly adding value to each other's lives, right? I don't have like the same toxic friends that I had in my life at one point that were just, again, just using me for like favors, rides, money, um, whatever else, while never giving or offering anything in return. It's like whenever I asked for anything, they'd be like, "Oh no, sorry man, can't do it, bro, can't do it." It's like they're never there for you, but you're always there for them. That's not a fair friendship, and those are the ones that you really need to cut off. But like I said, these days, I mean, I don't have those type of friends, anybody like that in my life anymore. Nobody even close to that has even gotten in, because I can, it's easy to spot these people a mile away. And not only that, but now it's like being on YouTube. Again, my only exposure to any toxicity are usually haters, right? And 99.9% of the time, I just don't deal with them. Unfortunately, my staff deals with them, right? They think they're getting to me or something. Like if they send me a DM on IG, I don't get those. They get filtered first through my team. And if it's somebody who's in one of my programs, if it's somebody who has been following us for a long time, if it's somebody who has taken a boot camp with me, then they get through, right? But if it's just like, Joe Schmo hater with the fake YouTube, with the fake profile, with a faceless account, with 0 followers, they just created this just so they could like send some nasty DMs, I don't get those. They just get deleted and blocked. I don't even see them, right? I was told that I got some on Christmas, and the only reason I found out was because the only staff member who was fielding messages on Christmas was Pratyusha, this Indian woman. She lives in India, and she fields a lot of my messages and filters them. And she was just saddened because she was like, "What is wrong with these people? It is Christmas." Right? Obviously, it was a female who was sending me some nasty messages, but she was like, "What is wrong with them? It's Christmas Eve, and oh my gosh, don't they have family and this and that?" And she was more like feeling sorry for the person, and I said, "Don't feel sorry for them. They bring it upon themselves, right?" I mean, at one time when I first started, I would feel bad, and I'd be like, "Oh, I can understand their dilemmas or their problems. They're probably, they didn't probably have a lot of unresolved childhood trauma, which they usually do." But it's not my job to fix you, especially if you're going to come at me like hating when all I'm doing is trying to add value to people's lives. All I'm doing is trying to help people. I mean, imagine how miserable do you have to be to just like message some content creator you've never met, like that doesn't know you. You're so triggered by him. He's living rent free in your head, or she is living rent free in your head. Whoever it is, it doesn't have to just be me. I mean, how sad do you have to be like, "Oh, I'm triggered. Let me waste part of my short existence on this planet to send some shade over to this person to try to piss on their day because I hate myself, I hate my life, and I hate that they're winning and they're succeeding." I mean, do you not think that do you seriously think that this person who's doing this has like friends, family that want to be around? No, all those people have already like exiled that person from their lives, and so now their only outlet is really like online to release some of that anger and hatred that really is self-inflicted, as Robert Greene says. This is why I say, don't feel bad for these people, just ignore them, right? Don't let them into your life, don't pay attention to them, don't give them power, right? Don't just keep them out of your life, right? Just like a fence. And the best revenge really is isolation and just not giving them power. Okay, so it's a great lesson, guys. It's a great book. I highly recommend you read this book if you haven't already. But if you have, let me know. Let me know in the comments below. What is your favorite chapter of the 48 Laws of Power? And how long has it been since you read it? This is one of those books that I just love to revisit. I mean, there are just so many just life-changing lessons in it. It's hard to ignore and just not pick up every once in a while, right? It's just a good reminder to keep yourself sharp. Whenever you start slipping in life and you feel like you're taking a step back, sometimes it's good to revisit books that can take you to the next level. And this is definitely one of them. This is definitely one of those once-in-a-lifetime books that definitely would not be published today. He would not be able to get this book published in today's, very politically correct cancel culture type world. I mean, he would literally be canceled if he published this book today. But he got away with it, in 1999 because the world, we didn't have like social media and smartphones, and the world was a little more balanced back then, had a lot more common sense than it does today, and people were less triggered than they are today. So it's a great book. I highly recommend you read it and even pick up a copy just in case they do cancel it one day and they ban this book from being sold. All right, but if you've read this book, let me know in the comments below. How long has it been? What's your favorite chapter? And if you've read any of Robert Greene's other books, I've read them all. I've read every single book that he's produced. For the most part now, I just do kind of audio. It's easier to consume. I don't have time to sit there and read. Audio is the same thing. But let me know your favorite chapter in 48 Laws of Power, and any other favorite Robert Greene books or any other self-development books you want to share. Drop them in the comments below. And also make sure you smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. It helps my channel out a ton, especially with the YouTube algorithm. And for you guys who want to support my work and you love what I'm teaching here, all this red pill content, best way to support me is just to jump into my premium Alpha Male Secrets program, where it's basically my premium Alpha Male Secrets channel, where the first month is only $1 for the very first month of premium Alpha Male Secrets content from me that you won't find here on my channel. So it's easy to get signed up. Just click the link below. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds, so do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video. Until next time.